Yeah, so glad to see all the excitement about this session. Nid and Yuri and I have been working on it for, oh, it's probably been 5 or 6 weeks now. Feels like a while. And we're great, really excited that it's starting. So for today, we're just kind of having a kickoff. So I figure I'll introduce the team. And then we can go into a quick explanation of what is Codenames, just in case anybody hasn't played before. Share some important links, and then the bulk of it will be going through the README file, which should have everything that you need to know. And then we'll go through the template so we can give an overview of where your code needs to go and answer any questions related to the code. Throughout though, please do jump in if you have questions. Whenever you have questions, this is very informal. We want to make sure that we can get that anybody's questions taken care of and answered for everybody. I'm sure that if you've got a question, somebody else has probably got it too. So with that, is Yuri on the call? Yeah, Yuri, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Yuri Schlechter. I'm a senior quantitative scientist at Grow Intelligence, working on different applications, including NLP. And actually, Codenames is kind of very similar to one of the problems we're trying to solve at work, trying to find similarity between different word sets. So that was a really interesting problem to work on.
Excellent. I don't think Nidin is on the call, but Nidin gave us a whole bunch of help with getting everything running on the server. So our original plan was to have everybody write their bots and then send in their Py files, and we would run it all contained within one thing, and that just was going to be a massive headache. So we decided at the last minute that we wanted to try and make this API. Yuri and I had never made an API before, so we reached out to the community, and Nidin stepped up and really helped us out with that. So this absolutely would not be possible without Nidin's help. So big shout out to him. And then myself, so I'm Dan Helghart. I've been on an interesting journey into data science. So I actually have a master's degree in mechanical engineering. And then I went to work for Shell oil company out of school. Was there for a while, but I've always kind of had coding as like a side hobby that I've really enjoyed. And then the last couple of years or so, I've really gotten passionate about AI and data science and that kind of stuff. And so Shell was offering opportunities to take a severance package, and I jumped on that so that I could do this kind of career shift. So this has been my side project during my temporary retirement, but I am interested in moving into specifically NLP space, and this is a great tie-in to that. So that's kind of where I'm heading forward. So yeah, so thanks for participating. So in case anybody has not played Codenames, let me pull up I'm gonna go really quick explanation. So this is the official rule book. There's also a link to this in the README file. So it has a link here, the rules of Codenames. There's a video as well if you want to watch the video. It's a couple-minute video. We won't go through that today. But the gist of Codenames is there's this 5x5 grid of words. Let me zoom that in a bit. So there's 25 words, and there's two teams, the red team and the blue team. Each team has one spy master giving the clues, and then the rest of the teammates are the field operatives. Now, for the purposes of this competition, there's just one field operative per team. So it's 1 + 1, teams of 2, 2v2. And so the idea is you want to give a clue word that's going to get your field operative to guess the right words on the board. So the spy masters have this map that shows them which words belong to their team, the red words and the blue words. And so you want to say a word that connects, if you're on the blue team spy master, you want to say a word that connects the blue words together. And you want to make sure that it doesn't connect with any of the other colored words, especially the black word. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let me scroll down just a little bit. There's a little bit easier to talk about. Maybe. I'm not sure why this is having trouble scrolling. Okay, well, anyway, so yeah, so the idea is you want to guess all of your team, your partner to guess all of your blue words before the red team guesses all of their words. But if either team hits the black word, that's an instant lose. So you do not, absolutely do not want to have your teammate guess the black word. You want to stay far away from that one. And then that's pretty much it. So we're going to do the same type of thing with bots. So your bot will need to play both roles. So it has one function for the spy master and one for the operative. And we'll feed it in the grid of words. And if it's the spy master, it'll get the key and all the other stuff that it needs to be able to generate clues. And we'll play it out, same rules. Your spy master will give a clue. Your teammate's bot will make guesses based on that clue, and you'll keep playing until all of one team's words are gone, or somebody presses the black word. So that's the really quick overview. And then I wanted to share a couple quick links. I'm going to put these in the chat. Well, I lost my chat. There it is. Okay, so a couple quick links, important links. So the first one is to the repo. And then we've got one to the Slack channel and one to the registration page. So let me show you what each of those do. Yeah, so the registration page, you've all been here. You had to have been to get to the Zoom, but we'll be hosting this each week. So next week, same time, and the week after that, come back to this page, you can log in. The repo is where all of the magic lives. And so these are all the files. This contains both files for the server side as well as for the competitor side, the client side. And the README. So I tried to be pretty descriptive in the README. So hopefully it answers most of your questions, but I'm sure I'll miss something. So we can edit the README and add in any questions that come up along the way. And then the Slack channel. So there is a TFest-Codenames Slack channel. And so the idea here is this is really where we're going to collaborate and ask questions, troubleshoot, anything like that in between the sessions. So the competition runs for 2 weeks. And the first week is really just practice. And then the actual, when it matters, is going to be that second week. But it runs, the server is going to be up the whole time, 24 hours a day for the 2 weeks. And so you can be coding whenever you like, log into the server, log out as you wish. So, and if you run into any problems, best place to get those addressed is here in the Slack channel. So yeah, so any questions so far? All right, excellent. Okay, so the README. Let's go through this. So what we're doing is the high level is, yeah, so everybody's gonna build a bot. We'll pair up the bots randomly once you're logged into the server. So there's going to be a file called client-run.py. When you run that, your bot will start interacting with the server. Whichever bots are interacting with the server at the time will get randomly paired up and then compete against another team, and the server will do all the management of the game. So there can be multiple games running all in parallel. And when you finish up a game, then you'll get randomly paired up with somebody else's bot and repeat the whole process again. The way that we'll be keeping score is using an Elo rating system. So this is like chess. So everybody's going to start with an Elo rating of 1500. If your bot beats a pair of bots that have a really good Elo rating, your Elo rating will go up a lot. If your pair of bots beats a team of bots that has a poor average Elo rating, then your Elo will go up just a little bit. If you lose to a really good team, your Elo will go down a little bit. And if you lose to a really bad team, your Elo will go down a lot. So it doesn't really matter whether you play 2,000 games or 100 games. Your Elo should adjust. And we'll take the highest ratings, and that will be our winners. So that's the rating system. I think I've covered most of this in the intro. Prizes, yes. Okay, so thank you to Sam and the TWIML team for providing prizes. So we are going to actually have prizes for 3 different categories. So your Elo rating will be tracked separately for your spy master role and your operative role. So if you only want to focus on one of the 2, that's fine. And you can win, let's say that you only want to do the spy master and you're just going to leave the operative as the template bot. If you do really well in the spy master, you can win a prize there. And then we'll give an overall for the best average combined Elo between spy master and operative. That's going to be the bigger prizes if you decide to take on both roles and do well in each side. So prizes are going to be distributed as either a gift card or a credit to whatever your favorite cloud provider is. Or you can use it as a credit for TWIML swag. I know Sam has got a whole bunch of nifty gadgets and hardware and stuff sitting around that might be available for you to cash in these for. Rules. So one thing that we did have to change from the official rules is in the official rules, you can give a multi-word clue if it's a proper noun, but we don't really have a way to verify that things are proper nouns very easily. So we're not doing that. It has to be a 1-word clue, no hyphens. You can use a single word proper noun. And the other big rule is please don't, I'm sure you could if you wanted to, but please don't include any sort of human interaction in your code. Like we give you 5 minutes to respond. Don't just like have it send you a prompt and ask you what you want to do and then respond in 5 minutes. That's not really in the spirit of the competition. And then the other thing is please don't team up. Don't have 2 bots that pair really well with each other, yours and somebody else's. Please keep all the collaboration public so that you can do it in the Slack channel so that everybody can see any collaboration that's going on. And then you'll need to make sure that your bot has played a minimum of 100 games. So here's the dates. So today's the kickoff. Next week we'll have this session again, same time. We'll do some collaboration and troubleshooting if anybody wants to do that. And then on 2 weeks from today, we'll have the debrief and the awards, and maybe we'll highlight some of the really interesting clues and stuff like that. So yeah, so the practice server is open for the next 7 days. It's up now. And anything that you want to interact with there. It's really just sandbox mode. Nothing matters. The scores will all get reset this time next week, and starting this time next week will be when the ratings actually matter and when we start tracking them for the final awards. Any questions so far?
I guess I have a question. I am not familiar at all with this game. I did see there's a video link up in the further in the README here. Is there like a sample round of gameplay or something like that at that video?
Yeah. So this is the official video. It's 5 minutes long and it explains everything.
Cool.
I won't watch it right now, but yeah. Yeah, it's really good. Any other questions? I see one here. Will the bot only give one-word hints? Yes. So the bots are capable of giving multi-word hints. So I'll peek into this now. So this is the template, and so this is the template function for the spy master. So the generate clue takes in the game board object and the team number, and then needs to return both a clue word and a clue count. So you can have it give, say, pickles for 3 if that's what it's going to give, if that ties words together. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
So is it fair to say that your spy master bot has to be good at a couple things like word selection and also clue giving, and then your, I forget the other one, agent bot has to be good at clue figuring out?
Yep. Yeah. So we pre-populated a template bot. So thanks to Yuri for a lot of help with this. He found a great paper, which I don't have pulled up right now. But the paper had some pseudocode in it that we replicated, and the pseudocode for the clue giver is like, what's that, like 30 lines. The one for the guesser is only like 10. So the guesser is much simpler, at least in the way they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's, let's talk about the files. So there are 6, maybe 7 files that you'll want to download from the repo. So the first 2 are, oh, Yuri put the link to the paper in the chat. Thanks, Yuri. So the first 2 are these 2 files right here. So the my model is the one that we were just looking at. So that's where your code's going to go. That's the most important file. And then this one, my player ID -key.txt, is this one. And this is where you will need to put your player ID and your player key that you received in your email. If you have not received a player ID and player key, please let me know, and we will make sure that that gets sent out to you. I think there's a couple that we're still waiting to send out. So if you don't get it by the end of the night, make sure you let me know in Slack. So that's going to be the way that the server knows which bot you are, which user you are. So you got to make sure you populate that correctly. And you'll start getting errors if you put the wrong key or something. Or if you don't change the key at all. This key that we have pre-populated in here is not a valid key. So you'll know right away. Then there are these other files that you'll need. So the TWIML code names, this is really got the core guts of how the game is run. So this defines all the classes that are used. It's got a game board class, a game class, It tracks the players' scores, all that kind of stuff is in here. If you're interested, it's got a lot of documentation inside. I'll show you what it looks like. So there are 4 classes: game, board game, local logger, and player. And it explains what all the instance variables and functions are within each class and things like that. So if you've ever got a question, like if you're going through and you see, hey, this generate clue gets this TWIML codenames.gameboard object, what can I do with that? Check out the documentation over here, and then that'll explain it all. Client run is the file that coordinates all the interactions with the server. So that is this one. So it's got an async loop that will automatically ping the server every 1 second to check the status, see if you've got any active games and if the server is waiting on you. And it does all this automatically. And it knows when to call the 2 functions from your model. The Codenames API client has a lot of the functions that kind of help out with the client run. And so this is where your model gets loaded. So it gets loaded via this import statement. And so that will pull this file in, and anything that you have, like if you need to import anything, that'll all get called when this imports it. If you need to declare any global variables, like we've got a couple declared here that we just load once the first time you run client run. And then you don't have to load them again each time that your bot has to return something. If you do, for some reason, change the name of this file, if you don't want to call it my model, if you want to call it Dan's model or something like that, make sure you update that here in this line in the API client file. And then requirements.txt, this is the minimum libraries that you'll need. So you will need where is it? So you will need NumPy and you will need NLTK. Those are the only 2 libraries that are required. Anything else you can add to there if you want, or you can just install it yourself. And then we did have a noun list that we're using with the template bot. So the template bot does pull this in right here. So it pulls in this list of, I think there's like 6,000 nouns in here that you can use, that the template bot uses as possible clues. If you don't want to use that, you don't have to. If you want to completely throw away the template bot and start from scratch, that noun list is not required. If you are going to use the template bot, one thing that I noticed is that the template bot for the clue giver is pretty slow. So the algorithm here calculates a word distance between a word vector distance between every word on the board and every word in your list of candidate clues. So that if you're going to do that, like that's on the order, if you've got like 20 words on the board left and you've got 6,000 candidate words, that can take a long time. So I shortened it. So I have this line here to improve the runtime. So each time I'm taking a subset of 1,000 words of the 6,700 or whatever. And so that speeded it up a bit. It still was taking me about 3.5 minutes to generate a clue on my local machine. So if your machine is slower than mine, you can decrease this number. You can take a smaller subset. If your machine is faster than mine, you can increase it or get rid of it. Some tips there. Yeah, and then when you're ready to go, when your file's all done, just go to the command line, Python client run.py. That's it. It takes care of everything else. So we tried to make it as simple as possible to interact with the server for you. We tried to do all that on our end. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. The timeout is 5 minutes, so you got to make sure that your algorithm returns whatever it's being asked to return within 5 minutes, or it's going to consider your bot timed out. So that is kind of what I was getting at with this was taking too long. We do have some other API endpoints that we've built in that you can use. If you want to pull the game log, you can do that using let's see, I have, I didn't put the URL here. I will add the URL to the server. And so you put the URL in front of here, put the game ID and then log, and it'll return the log. There's some examples of that in here in the API client. So it looks like this. So you can use the request library with get, and then the root is down here at the bottom. So this is the URL to the server that's running the games. It's on Heroku. And I will put that in the chat as well. Okay, and then where did I go? Yes, here. So you need a lot of these API endpoints you'll need to send it your player ID and player key for validation. And you can do that just like it's done here. Some of them you don't need to do that. And then it'll send it back. A lot of time, most of these will send it back as a binary bytes file format. So you'll need to use pickle to load that bytes. Pickle.loads of r.content will turn it back into a Python object if you want to use those endpoints. Yes, so Anthony just typed in a question. Yes, there is one thing that's important is in the TWIML Codenames file, we are checking for legal clues. So there is a function down here within the game class called legal clue. And so it checks, if you give a clue word, it checks it against all the unguessed words on the board and makes sure that it's not contained within it or vice versa. That's here, or it makes sure it's not 2 words, no spaces, no hyphens allowed. But then it also checks lemmas. So bark and barking, barking would fail here, but like R and B, those are 2 tenses of the same verb, ARE and BE. So they would also, if one of those was on the board, the other one would not be allowed because it would catch it in this lemmatizer bit here. And then all the other files in the repo are related to running the server. So I don't think you'll need to open any of those up, but if you're curious how anything works, or if you need to troubleshoot something, maybe an endpoint isn't returning something the way you think it is, you can dig into these and see how that's being calculated. Yeah, so let me check the agenda. Any other questions right now? All right. So yeah, so let's run through my model real quick, because this is where most of your part of the competition is going to happen. So we have populated the template, as I mentioned. So the way we've got this laid out is we've got some stuff that's required. We've got some stuff that you can change. And so we've got a section for imports. Got to leave these. You can change your imports here as much as you want. We're using Spacey for the template. You don't have to. So then we've got, if you're going to use the template, we've got we're loading the English large data set from Spacey. And then we're loading this noun list that we already talked about. We've got a function that we defined here that is used by the template bot. You don't have to use this function. You can define your own. You can blow this away. You can add as many functions as you want here, that kind of thing. If you want to play around with object-oriented and write your own class, you can do that here too. We've got the required functions. So these are the two. There's the two big ones: generate clue and generate guesses. And so the doc string's got everything that is going to be fed into this. Tells you a little bit about the format of each of these things, and then what format you need to provide the returns in, and some more details there. The algorithm that we've included is a word vector based algorithm. It calculates the distance between word vectors to figure out which words to give as a clue. And all the details are in that paper that Yuri linked. And then for the guesser, this is also a word vector distance based algorithm. Much simpler. It basically says, okay, based on the clue that I received, these are the words on the board that are closest to that clue. Whichever ones are closer than a certain threshold are the ones I'm gonna guess. And the way that, one thing that might be a little quirky or unexpected is this is going to return a list of guesses. So you don't get any feedback in between guesses like you do in the actual game. So you're gonna, if your bot wants to guess 3 different words, it's not gonna know whether the first word is successful when it submits the list of 3 words. But the game will stop at whichever word is incorrect. So if you give it 3 words, the first word is correct, the second word is wrong, it will not guess the third word. And it'll record all that in the log. So make sure that your list is in the order that you want it to guess. The order is important in the list of words. Yuri asked, will the score be reset in a week? Yes. So scores don't matter between now and next Wednesday. They'll all get reset. This is all just sandbox. Nothing will be done with the scores for the end of this week. The following week is the week that matters. Any more questions? All right, so if there are any questions that come up, please post them in Slack. We will make sure to answer them as quickly as possible. And we are really excited to have everyone join the competition. So that wraps up the official agenda. We are, however, going to offer the opportunity to play Codenames if anybody has not played before or anybody likes to play. There are a few websites that let you play over the web. I've got one that I quite enjoy, and anybody who wants to can stick around. It's not required, but if you want to play Codenames, we'll give everybody a couple minutes and then we'll split off into teams, depending on how many people we have who want to stick around and play. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, Dan, thank you.
How long is a round of Codenames?
So it depends on who you've got playing and how much time you let them think. I would say playing with my friends, a round takes maybe 30 to 45 minutes.
Whoa, okay.
Or a game of Codenames, yeah.
I might have to catch up with that one later on.
All right.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Dan, that's the same for me, man. I like to play, but I'll have to catch up with a future round as well.
Sounds good.
Same here. Jose, we might need to try it later on. late at night or something.
I agree. It's a way to wind down at the end of the day. I like it.
Mhm.
Yeah, take care. All right, thanks, Dan. We'll leave
Thanks.
you to it.
Yeah, Dan, thanks a lot. This is exciting. Looking forward to it.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
That
All right.
I want to play, but I it looks like I'll have to like step out for a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe next time.
Okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
no worries. All right, so I'm going to assume that everybody else who stayed wants to play. Anthony, Joseph, and Daryl.